Hi everyone, and welcome to your weekly woo. We have a very powerful week ahead. We have Mars, which will be stationing retrograde on Wednesday, and Jupiter, which will be coming out of retrograde and going in forward motion on, I believe, Saturday. So two big planets changing direction. We've had Venus go into Leo, and we have Mercury that has just gone into Virgo, I believe. So a lot of changes in energy, and it's very clear that it is a time for introspection. So blue heron is all about self-reflection. Bear is about introspection, right? You think of like how they hibernate. And rabbit is about fear. Both fear when we feel threatened, but also irrational fears coming in and getting in the way of our ability to see ourselves and others clearly. So this week, as we have the energy of Mars going retrograde, this is going to, all of that aggression and anger, now we start looking at internally. It's like the anger and the agitation, it becomes so uncomfortable that we really get this understanding that we have to change it within to see the change we want on the outside. So this reading is really about going within and really looking at ourselves and seeing where are we the ones who are creating the conflict. And Blue Heron always says, if you're blaming others, you've missed the mark. And this is so interesting because this is something I've been talking about in the Daily Woo. If you're blaming someone else, you've automatically given your power away to them. That's Heron's message. And it says to look within. What is your part in the conflicts in your life? What is your part in your dissatisfaction, right? If you have ambitions, goals, dreams that you don't see coming to fruition, these cards ask you, where's fear getting in the way of that? Your own fear, maybe of your own power, of your own wisdom, of your own success. And take some time, as Mars is going to go retrograde, to really think, reflect. What is it that you need to change within about how you're going after what you want? And are you being motivated by fear? Right? It's a good question. And I think all of us, especially during, in this 2020 where so much is about fear. I mean, everything is being motivated by fear. And how do you pull out of that? The plant allies we have this week are Rose, which is open heart. So automatically, here's one of our answers. When we're motivated from fear, we're usually in our mind. And the mind is so useful, right? The ego is so important. It keeps us physically safe. But what we really want to be doing is connecting to that heart space, to be connecting to our soul, spirit, and letting that guide us. And that's when we have the creativity of rabbit rather than the fear of rabbit, when we're connecting to our heart. It talks also about unconditional love. But unconditional love for self, that even when you start seeing, oh my gosh, I'm blaming this person, but in reality, it's me. I'm the one who's propagating this. This is my pattern of, whatever unworthiness or addiction to chaos. I mean, that's a huge one that we need to start looking at. Our addiction to fear. We bond, at least I'm an American, so much bonding is done through chaos and crisis or gossiping and slander. If you look at what's happening politically right now, all sides are just talking some BS about each other, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't find any of it to be rooted in integrity. And so we're being asked, as we see that reflected in the outside world, where is our integrity as we self-reflect? Where is our open-heartedness? Who said that winning has to include degrading your fellow athlete, or that which is you're trying to win. But that's the pattern that we have, and so we're being asked to look at it in our personal lives as well, because one of the goddesses we pulled was Inanna. Now the story of this goddess, she goes into the underworld. She's stripped of everything as she meets her twin sister below, which is representative of our shadow side. But once she courageously does this and lets go of her, the beauty, the jewelry, the vanity, the clothes, what she was a princess. She lets it all go. And she's there naked, willing to surrender everything. Then she absorbs the power of her shadow self, and she comes back onto earth as literally the queen of heaven and earth. This was a goddess that was revered throughout history, pre-Christianity. So this idea of, as we self-reflect, we look at our shadow, where fear motivates us, where we're addicted to fear and chaos, where that is causing actually the strife in our life, not anyone else. And we take the time, okay, now what does that mean? What does that mean? And we do that through, thank you, Wood Bettany, our other plant ally, through deep grounding. There is also an aspect this week where Venus is going to be squaring Uranus. Uranus is the planet of aha moments, right? The lightning strike, the earthquake, the sudden shakeup. It's that tower moment where everything collapses or and new is brought forth from it. But most importantly, as we talk about this inner journey, it's the aha moment where you realize, oh my God, I'm responsible. And I got to take responsibility for my life now. And you want to start recreating that life with a sense of grounding. Whether that's, walking on the earth, the sand with bare feet, literally imagining you're in a bubble of light and it has a hollow tube that descends down into the center of Mother Earth, and she is absorbing the fear. You give her the fear, the anxiety, and the worry, so that you can move ahead with this grounded centeredness of the bear, right? If you watch a bear move, it's on a plane of stability because of its weight. So we're really being asked to look at our shadow. And as we do that, here we have our crystal was Boji stone. We had 2 of them. Balance, align, and clear. This comes back to this idea of grounding and the balance of the light and the dark within each of us. And so often it would be so much easier to, if we're the victim, we're all good, right? We're the victim and we're being hurt and they are hurting us. But that's not the truth. Once we come of age, we're responsible for the darkness and the light within us. And it's the marriage of those two that when they're aligned and when there is balance, we have an acceptance of ourself, right? Back to Blue Heron. A self-reflection that includes self-acceptance, that includes unconditional love for ourselves. And we also got the card, be willing to forgive. When we accept our flaws, that which we projected on other people, there is a moment where we can step into compassion and forgiveness for ourselves that will then extend to everyone else in our life. But first, we must be willing to truly look at ourselves. And in some ways, it's almost like, all that energy we put into judging others, can you turn it upon yourself and really look at yourself? If you knew that you could solve all of your relationship conflicts simply by being really truly honest about what are your flaw character defects, if you were to admit what they were, look at what they were, and then accept them and love them and forgive them into wholeness, your entire life would change. Your relationships would change and heal. And yes, we will find places as we do this where, okay, then that person doesn't resonate with us anymore. As we make these changes internally, our vibration shifts. And that means some people will be in alignment with us and some people will not. And that goes back to this card. Well, I haven't showed you this yet. The worthiness card. Do you believe you're worthy for the level of introspection it would take for you to truly face your shadow, face these parts of yourself that you're putting onto other people, integrate them, forgive yourself so that you can truly live in an open-hearted place of joy and happiness and peace and relief from the strife of the past? Do you think you're worthy of it? And then this card that we pulled, our angel card, and it says Earth Angel. You are worthy not because of what you've done or have not done, what you have or do not have. You are worthy because you are a part of source creator energy, having a human experience. You were worthy from the moment you were conceived, from the moment you were born. So, this card, as well as we talk about this shadow part of ourselves, that we are angels, having an earthly experience. But that also means that if we're going to go with that mythology, that then we also are demons having an earthly experience. And it really is about, here we go, our other crystal, black coral, light in the darkness. What part of yourself are you going to feed? But you can't make that choice until you've really looked at who you are. So, if you are judging other people, right, which we all do, right, this is a process that each and every one of us are going through right now. 2020 is the moment of this lesson for all of us, and we're seeing it as a collective as well. When you really look at how much you judge others and you blame others for how you feel or what you're thinking or your life circumstances, once you acknowledge it, there is this, it's like a vacuum is created. And what flows into that awareness is self-love and self-forgiveness. And when you're able to see that you have given away your power by blaming and judging others, in that moment, you get your power back. And this is, we got start delegating. And this is when, and I take this is about internal stuff right now. I mean, we could say this is start delegating, like give your children chores and ask your friends to help you, which that's all valid this week. But it's really about then internally thinking about then, okay, well, what do I need to do to have that harmony in my life? What do I need to do to reach that goal or to meet that ambition that I have or to fulfill myself? When you can't blame anybody else, then you have to start giving yourself action steps. And this is what I do with people in sessions. We really work through where they've given their power away and where we take it, they take it back. And then really get into alignment with what it is that they really want to be doing here. And then we start creating action steps so that they can start doing that. And once you really forgive yourself, understand your innate worthiness, tap into the light side, tap into the light, tap into the force, ground yourself, right? Understanding that it's not an overnight process, that we are in a marathon. We are not in a sprint. That, true self-fulfillment is a process. It is a journey. And that journey can be so beautiful and creative if we allow it to be. Then we can really start creating a life that is fulfilling on all levels. Where you can go to bed at night being like, yeah, I'm good with everybody in my life. I'm at peace with who I am. I'm at peace with my past and what I did when I didn't know any better. I'm at peace with who I was when I was in pain. You make amends as well as this process, as it unfolds, to say to yourself that you forgive yourself for when you didn't know any better, when all you knew was to judge others and to blame others for where you're at. So the message is really clear, like the power, we have all the power and influence we need, but we weren't taught how to harness it and maintain it. And what we're getting from our leaders is that it's okay that snark wins, but it doesn't. at the end of the day, it does not. And it does not create happiness. And the goal is a complete and total balance. The alignment, the Boji stone, balance, alignment, and clarity, right? If that's our goal as a human being, then we have to face that what we've done up till now may not work. And we have to face our imperfections so that we can accept that there's a whole nother part of ourselves that is so ready to take the wheel. And that's our highest self, which I've been talking about in a lot of these videos. The highest self, our higher self, that is that droplet of creator, right? If creator is like a big ocean, we're all droplets of it. We contain all in this one droplet that we are, as this soul in a body. And that due to that, we are worthy of all goodness, of forgiveness, of compassion. And that means that each and every one of our brothers and sisters is as well. So this week, as we enter into the Mars retrograde, where, some conflicts can heat up, some conflicts may take the back burner, but no matter what, your anger at yourself and at other people is going to be up for review, up for introspection. Because anger, depression is anger suppressed. And once a person who is depressed starts really experiencing their anger, the depression leaves, action is taken, and that person heals. So anger is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, we need it to propel us into enacting and maintaining strong boundaries. To do that in an effective way, to do that with an essence of forgiveness and compassion, that is the key. And that is what may be tricky this week. So if you guys need help, please reach out to me, info@thegoodwoo.org. I was alerted that some people's emails were being sent back this week. There was a technical difficulty. That is solved now. So if you've sent me an email in the last week and it bounced back to you, please send it again so that I will be able to achieve it. And, this idea of grounding, that when it gets too intense this week, because it may, every week in 2020 has brought us something that's just super intense, then really use Mother Earth to ground yourself. Let her have it. Let her have the worry. Let it drain out your feet. If you have to get on all fours, let it drain out your palms. If you have to, lay down on the ground. Starfish it. And let her have it. And believe that you're worth it. That you don't have to be filled with anger and resentment. You can let it go. And you can choose, as you acknowledge it, you can choose a higher way. You can choose to focus on the angel within. Because that's who you are. And that's the part of us and the part of the collective that is rising right now. So get on board. Speak to you guys soon.